my mom owns this building that we're in. Mm-hmm. And it was nothing in it really. I mean, there's storage kind of, but I wanted to do something with it. And I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do really. And thought about it. And I was like, I don't drink alcohol anymore. I got sober about 9 years ago. And I'm addicted to coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's no coffee here. And then I started going to coffee shops in Nashville. And like one was a house. One was like an old cabin. And they had a coffee shop kind of set up in there. I'm like looking around and I'm like, maybe I could do something like this. It's not like a full restaurant, but there's customers. I mean, Starbucks has done it. I mean, I love it. I mean, every time I go to Starbucks, I mean, you sit there and you look, it just doesn't stop as far as customers all day, especially in the mornings when you get those rushes. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So going back to kind of like the weird, like things like the universe pulling me towards this, I was sitting with my friends and that's when they were like, we started kind of like, I had a day off. We were on tour with Collective Soul, and I was at my buddy's house with another friend. It was Joe and Melinda, friends of mine since I was little here in Oklahoma. And they're like, yeah, well, you put all your gold records and all your stuff in there. And it's like, oh, cool. That'll give it like a vibe, give it like a theme. And then that kind of like, it started to kind of snowball into what more things we can do and what cool things we can do with that. Let's put a record player in there. I'll have music and I can do the songwriting thing. I can have songwriters get together. I'm just really going crazy thinking of these different ideas. And Melinda, she was trying to come up with names and she had one called the Dancing Goat. And I was like, okay, the Dancing Goat. I'm like, my favorite coffee shop that I've ever been to is in Healdsburg, California, called the Flying Goat. I'm like, okay, the Dancing Goat. So what does Dancing Goat mean? I don't even know. It's got to be something with goats. So I look it up, and I guess the fable is that goats and the Ethiopian goat herders, when they would go up, the goats would eat the little cherries, the coffee cherries, and they would look like they were dancing. Mm-hmm. And then they discovered caffeine basically in these cherries. And so I was like, okay, well, I get it. So the Dancing Goat. My first thought is like, well, is there a dancing goat? Is there another dancing goat? So I look and I found one, and it was in Kingston, United Kingdom on Beverly Road. And my mom's name is Beverly, and she's the one who gave me this building. And now in Kingston. So I'm like, well, that's the name. So I had shirts printed up. I was about to open. And then I got a cease and desist from a place called the Dancing Goats in Tacoma, Washington. And I somehow overlooked that one. And I was like, mine was Greg's Dancing Goat, and theirs was the Dancing Goats. And I'm like, can I fight this? Should I fight this? Because I already, I thought about it. It's like I only got about really like I printed shirts up. I didn't open yet. I didn't really invest too much in it. So I'm like, well, I can just change it and just call it a day. And then I'm like, the drumming goat, the smoking goat, the drinking goat, and then rockin' goat. And I was like, it's got to be music themed. And I was like, fine. I'm like, what's the name? I was in a band called Puddle of Mud. What really, like, Three Doors Down, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what's in a name? Really just try to make, it's the goat. That makes it memorable, I guess, more so. Yeah. It doesn't tongue as well, but still, it's fine. It gets the job done.
Right.
And my location, there's not a lot of goats of any sort, so I'm okay. But that's how that name became a thing.